everybody, my name is Ashley, and today in my kitchen I'm going to be starting all but I think one of my garden seeds. I've got some trays here, my soil, a bowl with some water. I'm probably going to need to add more to hydrate the soil. And I've got my seeds in this container, a little list. I keep track of the dates where I planted things. First, let's check in on the seeds that I've already started. One of the things that I wanted to do this year was make sure that I'm not using any artificial light. And when I said that, the weather in our state was actually a lot nicer, but I was not anticipating the normal routine with the weather, which is that it gets snowy and then warm and then snowy and then warm. And so I've been sort of moving my plants in and outside and in these little warm environments. I'm trying to create a little bit of a greenhouse in my backyard. The temperatures and everything are wildly fluctuating in these environments. So I killed my snapdragons. They got too hot. Those seeds are super fine. The plants, when they were first starting, were super, super tiny. My peppers got too cold. I think they had started the germination process and then they were left out too long one day before I brought them in, and I think they got too cold, so they didn't really actually pop through the rest of the way. So I replanted them, and it's still pretty inconsistent germination. So it was a trial. I've always been a little leery on starting peppers. I'm gonna have to buy starts from the store. These are onions. This is my second round. This is my first round. These first ones were looking so great, and my toddler grabbed the container one day and everything was sort of on its side. And instead of trying to reposition all of the seedlings in the soil, I just kind of gently shook it to get it to reposition, and I just left it alone. I didn't want to disturb the plants any more than they'd already been disturbed. They're doing okay. A lot of these onions have started sprouting like second sprouts. A lot of them have that. So that's at least a good thing. We'll just kind of keep plugging away at them. The second ones look great too. They're starting to grow second stems as well. And so yeah, we're just gonna keep plugging away, see how they do. And then this is my rosemary. I planted a ton of rosemary because the natural germination rate actually of rosemary is very low and germination is inconsistent. So I went heavy on the seeds, and I have plants in 5 of the 6 cells, and I think actually my toddler pulled one out of that 6th one. So that's pretty good. They're very small, they're just getting going, but it's a start. Okay, so then the seeds that I'm going to start today, so we've got flowers, several different flowers, some sage, more flowers, stevia, my lemon balm, and then tomatoes. I got a super sauce and a tomatillo from Burpee. And then in my seed haul videos, I talk about all of these seeds, except these Burpee ones. And then I went and I got 4 really gorgeous looking tomatoes from Johnny's Selected Seeds. I really wanted to take advantage of the fact that if I start these seeds on my own, I can have a lot more freedom when it comes to varieties. So I'm still going to buy tomato plant starts. I had always planned to do that from the beginning this year. But I'm doing these just for fun, just for an experiment. If they don't end up obviously doing that well, it's not going to be worth putting them out. But if I can get these to grow, I think they're going to be a lot of fun. I have actually never grown any kind of like an heirloom tomato before. I've grown a lot of tomatoes. Usually it's like a aroma style and a slicer. Nothing too crazy or nothing too exciting. And then of course cherry and grape sized tomatoes. So I'm super excited to watch these tomatoes grow. All right, so I think I'm gonna start with my tomatoes, and I'm gonna do a 6 of each one. So I've got 6 here. So these will all be tomatoes. And then I can actually fill in here where this my snapdragons didn't germinate. I can use that one. And then I think I'm just gonna try to fill in here. So we're just gonna start filling in dirt. Okay, I filled all the rest of these 6 cells, and I filled 8 of the 4 cells. So we'll start there and see how it goes. I'm gonna go ahead and write on these little markers. I have heard the best advice to cut up yogurt containers, sour cream containers, any kind of plastic container that otherwise would just be recycling, and cut them into strips and use these strips as markers. So I'm gonna write down what I'm going to plant first, and then I'm going to go around and get my seeds in. All you have to do is take a look at the seed packets when you're planting. It's pretty easy. They tell you everything you need to know whether it's better to transplant or direct seed something, how deep the seeds need to be planted. And the depth of seed is the same regardless if you're planting it inside or outside. So my tomatoes and things like that are usually around 1/4 inch. So I'll go ahead and make all my holes and then I'll get my seeds in. I'll be planting 2 seeds in each cell, and then I'll thin them out. I'll thin them out and keep the stronger plant. Once you get all your seeds in their little cells, all you have to do is just go and gently cover them. Press them down just a little bit, don't pack them down in there too tightly. And make sure they stay moist so that they can germinate. The next seed I'm gonna go after is the stevia. And I've planted stevia once before and it just did not do well. So I don't have incredibly high expectations, but it would be really nice if it did well. So these need to be, so a lot of seed can last longer than 1 year. There are some exceptions. Onions is one of those. If you buy onion seed, you want to make sure that you use that within a year. These also say to use within 6 months, so they don't have a very long shelf life or germination life. This packaging actually doesn't tell me how deep to plant it, but there is sort of like a general rule to follow. About as big as the seed is the depth that you should plant it at. And these are really small. I'm gonna go ahead and use them all. And I think I'm gonna go in one of these 4 cells. So I'm gonna go right in one of these. For half of them, I'm gonna go in the cell and just gently cover it with just maybe 1/8 of an inch of soil or less, not much. And then for the other 2, I'm just gonna sprinkle it right on top, press it in, and then make sure it stays moist. Make sure those seeds don't dry out. And actually, now that I have my spray bottle out, I'm gonna do that with my lemon balm as well. These lemon balm seeds were so fine, just like the Snapdragon. So I hope that they do okay. So I'm just gonna spray these, make sure that I'm watching them every day to make sure they stay moist. Oh, these are nice big seeds. Fresh sage out of the garden is so phenomenal. Look at that. I totally messed up. This is why you do this. These are the cells that the stevia was planted in. You probably saw that. Okay. Here we go. Over here. This is going to be the sage. Okay, we only have one more flower to plant, and it's going to be these bright pink colosias. And so I'm going to do actually 8 cells of these. These are one of my kids picked out, and so I want to try to get as many of those as possible. We're just going to go ahead and keep trying this without any artificial light. Oh, there's hardly any in there. I'm probably not going to be able to fill all of those cells. If you'd like to check in and see how these are growing, or see more of my garden videos, of which there will be many coming, please subscribe, and we will see you soon.